All right, hello everybody. This is Mr. Brown, and welcome to our mini lesson over ecology here in biology. So, today we're going to look at what biotic and abiotic factors are in the environment as we start looking at our levels of organization. So, first of all, we have a question here posed to us. Do you think bottled water is helpful or harmful? And why do you feel that way? So, what I want you to do is to just take some time here, really think about bottled water, think about the benefits, think about some of the drawbacks, maybe as a result of using bottled water. And then I would just want you to think about that and go ahead and write down what your thoughts are. So as we move into our levels of organization, we have 6 of them, starting with the smallest level moving up to the largest level. Okay, and at the smallest level, we also have the most abundance there. Okay, so let's start with the first and smallest level of organization, the species. A species can be defined as similar organisms that can breed and produce fertile offspring. So these would be organisms that can produce fertile offspring, meaning their offspring can in turn produce their own offspring. Okay, so an example of a species would be African elephants. Okay, African elephants can breed with each other and have offspring, which are in fact African elephants, and then they can, when they get older, breed and have their own offspring. Okay, we move up to the next level of a population. Populations are defined as individuals that belong to the same species and live in the same area. So a great example of a population is by looking at the population of people in a city. Okay, now we are individuals that belong to the same species. We're all Homo sapiens, and we live in the same area. So here in the Omaha metro area in Nebraska, we live in Omaha. So there is a population in Omaha. There's a population in the entire state of Nebraska. So we could also look at it at a larger scale. We could even look at it and say there are so many people that live in the United States. So there's a population there. Okay, we can even increase it to the entire world and say there are over 7 billion people living on planet Earth. That's the population of planet Earth. We move up a level to our third level of organization, which is community. A community is defined as different populations that live together in a defined area. Okay, so if we have different populations, we can say that our community here consists of people, it consists of squirrels, it consists of different types of birds, it consists of a bunch of different insects and different plant life. Any living species that is in our area is a part of our community. Okay, but it has to be living species, so different populations. As we move up a level, an ecosystem is a little bit different from a community. An ecosystem is all of the organisms that live in a place together, which essentially is a community, but now we are also adding in the physical environment. So we're talking about mountains, we're talking about streams of water and rivers and lakes, we're talking about the type of soil and rocks and all the non-living things that are found in the environment. This could also be man-made things like skyscrapers. If we're talking about the metro area here, a big part of our ecosystem are the tall buildings. We move up to the fifth level of organization, which is a biome. A biome is a group of ecosystems with similar climates and organisms. So we're here in the Midwest. We live in the Great Plains. This is all one biome. There's about 6 or 7 states in the Midwest that are very similar with climate and organisms. So there aren't too many major differences between one biome. And as we move up to the last level, we have the biosphere. The biosphere consists of all organisms and all environments on Earth. So everything on Earth, living and non-living. So our levels of organization from smallest to largest: species, population, community, ecosystem, biome, and biosphere. Now, when we talk about living things that can have an effect on an environment, we're talking about biotic factors. Biotic factors are living parts of the environment with which an organism might interact. So animals, plants, fungi, protists, bacteria, anything living. So biotic factors relating to a bullfrog might include algae, because it's going to eat algae as a tadpole. Might include insects, because it eats insects as an adult. And it might include herons, these large birds that eat bullfrogs. So they want to pay attention to every living thing in their environment, including people. If we go walking by a lake and there are bullfrogs in there, they want to take notice of us. We are a biotic factor affecting their life that they want to stay away from us. Okay, that's a biotic factor. A non-living part of an environment is an abiotic factor. So any non-living part of the environment that plays a role for an organism. So non-living things like sunlight, heat, precipitation, humidity, wind, water currents, soil type, anything that is non-living is an abiotic factor. So, what is an environment? Well, an environment is all of the biotic and abiotic factors in an area. So it's all the living and non-living things in an area. And that is what an environment is. So now we know what an environment is, but now we actually have a definition. So when someone asks you, what's an environment? Well, you can say all the living and non-living things in that area. All right. So here is the activity that we're going to do with this information presented today. On a piece of paper, we're going to fold it hot dog style and cut 5 lines halfway across the paper so you have 6 slots when they're folded down. Each slot is designated for a level of organization. So the first one will be species, the last one will be biosphere. When you open the slot, you want to write a brief description on one side, and then on the other side you want to draw and color a picture of what that level of organization might look like. Okay. On the back of the foldable, we want to make sure we can define the terms ecology, biotic factor, abiotic factor, and environment.